it is tough for you just as it's tough for everybody else. Like everybody hurts.
Yep. And honestly, like, I don't see myself as an awesome athlete. Like I'm pretty average at all of the disciplines. There are guys, there was a guy who, he finished third overall that year. He's racing Super League now. And, is Jack Felix, and he came in.
Yeah.
He's like a 14 something 5K guy. And,
yeah.
And I'm like my fastest 5K is barely under 16 minutes. Like, how am I supposed to beat this guy? And, it's not about doing one thing really well. It's about doing all the things kind of okay. Like that's
or pretty well, yeah. I talked to Jack the other day actually, and
oh yeah,
asked him how he was going, and he said Super League and Pro is just absolutely brutal the whole way through, which you'd anticipate.
Right. It looks so much fun though. Like I would love to get out there and just like go at it with the guys in Super League. Like I would get lapped out, the first lap of the bike, but
yeah,
and that would be fun. That would be cool. It looks like.
So I mean, is that why you decided not to go pro? Because for those people listening, so Todd and myself, although I'm much slower, and the kind of group that we know each other through is all focused on becoming professionals. So, is that the decision for you not to go pro, even though you've qualified a few times over?
Yeah, I was talking to Barb, coach, about it, and it's not like I'm blowing everybody out of the water, right? I still get beat a lot, and if I would have won the national championship by like 5 minutes, okay, well then maybe it's time to go pro. But I won by 3 seconds. The other races that I've won by like a minute, I don't know, maybe 2. But it's not like any dominating thing. Now, I do always wonder, like, okay, well, if I just devoted my time and training like a professional athlete, like, could I be better? Yeah, definitely. Like, I'm trying to do this all while getting a PhD and doing research and my own classes and teaching, and so that definitely takes its toll on like my training and recovery time. But if I were to train like a professional athlete, would I get so much better that it would not only allow me to like compete, but like to win some professional races? And unfortunately, there are not a lot of Olympic distance professional races anymore. Right. They're all going long course. It's 70.3. It's Ironman. We don't have IV series anymore. The Lifetime series is kind of on the downhill. And really, if you want to race professional in short course, it's Continental Cup, it's the World Cup, and they are way faster than me. Like the run is my best event, and my 10K PR. They are running 2 minutes faster in the triathlon. And so it's like...
Right. And I don't mean this in a disparaging way, but it's like the women are running as fast as you.
Yeah. At Worlds this year, last year, I guess, 2018 in Australia, my time and the women's winning time was within 2 seconds of each other. And so I'm like, yeah. Now I still would have beat a few of the men, but but I don't want to be the pro that is finishing in the bottom third quarter, like finishing last every time, because you're not going to make a living like that. And I think that being a professional athlete, whether it's triathlete or baseball player or whatever, like if you want to call yourself a professional athlete, you need to make a living and be able to solely fund yourself based on your sport. And triathlon is a very difficult sport to do that with, because really only the best 2% in the world, the best 2% of the professional athletes are making enough money to sustain themselves.
Right.
I mean, you've got your Jan Frodeno's, Marinda Carfrae, Lucy Charles, Daniela Reef, like those, they are making a comfortable living from triathlon. But then you have your lower tier triathletes like Jack, and Jack's a great triathlete.
Yeah.
Like, but is he making even 30,000 a year doing triathlon? Probably not.
Right.
And that's hard to live on. And so being a professional triathlete, like, yeah, well, it's always been a dream of mine to be a professional athlete. I thought it was going to be baseball, but just to be a professional triathlete, to call myself a professional triathlete, is not something that I really want to do at the time.
Right.
Maybe like for my last triathlon that I ever do, maybe I'll like take my pro card
Take your
and
pro
like,
card.
yep, there's that one time that one race that I wanted to do as a pro. But yeah, right now it's just not something that I want to do.
Mm-hmm. So we'll have a couple more questions, and I know we're gonna have to let you go. So this last year, 2018, you came back from a kind of disappointing finish at nationals, which is a whole other conversation, um, which I'd love to get into. Maybe we'll get into another time. So you came back and actually won the overall age group world championship this last year. Considering all you said about not going professional, how do you stay motivated for the next race? Like you stood on top of the world now as far as the amateurs are concerned. How do you stay in the game?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's something that I had to give a lot of thought to in the off season. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've I've won my age group for the national championship the last 3 years. I was the overall winner 2 years ago. I finished third overall in 2017, and like you said, I just won the world championships. And so it's like, what else do I have to do in short course racing as an amateur? It's
Mm-hmm.
like and it's not to sound like conceited or anything, but it's like, what now? You
Right,
know?
because it's a personal challenge.
Yeah. And so what now? Okay, I guess like do it again to prove it wasn't a fluke. Um, but it's tough. Like honestly, and it's something that I'm like, well, do I really want to go run outside when it's -5 out? Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, I'm just gonna lay on the couch instead. But I think just looking at new challenges and maybe doing different races that you might not otherwise do. Like last year, I did duathlon nationals,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, well, that seems like fun, and I can take the time and go down to South Carolina and do that. And I'm gonna do 3 races in 2 days, and it's gonna hurt, but it'll be fun. And so kind of finding races like that to put on my race calendar, and getting back to doing some local races that I haven't done in a couple of years because of like the world championships.
Mm-hmm.
um, I would like to go to Switzerland this year for
Mm-hmm.
the world championship again, and yeah, to kind of like prove that it wasn't a fluke. But I think the guy who finished second, well, he finished third overall, second in the age group.
Mm-hmm.
He actually races pro. He races in the Continental Cup, which I'm not sure how he was allowed to race
He's
in the
allowed to
age
do
group.
both. Yeah.
But regardless, like he races pro, but he's one of those pros who he doesn't finish in the. I mean, he might be in the top half of a 50-person race, but
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, so that to me, like that's good motivation. Like, yeah, I as somebody who does this for fun and as a personal challenge, like that I can go and compete with guys who are racing pro. I mean, that to me is some pretty good motivation. That it's like, okay, well, I want to show that I can do this only working out 12 to 15 hours a week as opposed to 20 to 30.
Right. Right.
So, but it is tough. I mean, everybody's got to find their own motivation. Mine is like cinnamon rolls. That's one of the main reasons that
And I wanted to
I
get to
still love
that.
exercising. So, yeah, I gotta exercise a lot so that I can eat a lot of cinnamon rolls.
So where did the cinnamon roll thing come from? So I'll pull up a couple pictures so everybody else on YouTube can see this. Todd's consumed, what are you at, 141 cinnamon rolls now? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's on my website. There are pictures of 141. I think that I've probably eaten more, but those
Well, I
are
mean, like unique types. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. So the whole cinnamon roll thing, it started after my first triathlon, I think, or first running race, and I was like, oh, I want to get a something to treat myself with, and we were out to breakfast, and like they had cinnamon rolls on the menu, and I was like, oh, that sounds good. Like I'll get a cinnamon roll,
hmm
and it's not like I had any big love of cinnamon rolls before then, but it was just like something that was there. Like my mom never made cinnamon rolls for me growing up, and so it's not like one of those stories where it's like, oh yeah, yeah. But yeah, and it used to be just kind of a thing where after a race or a post race treat or something.
hmm
So, but now it's kind of taken on a life of its own where it's like I've got friends who I haven't seen or talked to in like years that are like, oh my gosh, like I saw this cinnamon roll down in Texas, like you got to try it out. Or like, hey Todd, I saw this video on Instagram, like they tagged me in it.
hmm
And so it's just kind of taken on a life of its own. And I have friends send me cinnamon rolls from places. Like it's the craziest thing, and it's kind of cool. I actually yesterday I went to a local bakery, and I had been there earlier in the week because I wanted to get some cookies. They have like the best cookies that I've ever had. But
hmm
um, I saw some cinnamon rolls in the refrigerator, and they were like, you can take them home and bake them yourself. And I was like, do you guys make cinnamon rolls on any day of the week? And he was like, yeah, usually it's Saturdays. And I was like, oh, awesome! Like I'm gonna have to come and do that. And I kind of showed him. I showed him my website, and I showed him the pictures of all the cinnamon rolls. He was
hmm
like, oh man, like you, like will you come in? Like I want you to try one because I would love to get your opinion on it. And so I was like, well, I think I could do that. Like twist my arm. So yeah, yesterday I went in and it was like I was a cinnamon roll critic. He was like, "What'd you think, honestly? Like, what are your thoughts?" And so that was kind of cool. So yeah, maybe after my triathlon career, I'll find a calling in the culinary field.
Just start
For
calling bakeries up and be like, I
yeah,
can help you out. I know my stuff. You make a cinnamon roll?
cinnamon roll connoisseur.
Yes. That's I thought about putting that down in your bio as a foremost cinnamon roll connoisseur, but I was like, that may sound a little conceited. I don't know if I want
Uh,
to go with that or not.
It makes me. I have to twirl my mustache.
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
my monocle out.
Most importantly, and this is for my own ego, how was the cinnamon roll I found for you in Cleveland?
Oh yeah, man, that was really good. That was legit. It was Michelle's Bakery, wasn't it? At the
I think
at
so. We were
West
wandering
Side
around the
Market.
public market, yeah, the West Side
Yeah,
Market. Look,
yeah,
I was like, gotta find. There's tons of bakeries in there. Anybody that's not been to West Side Market, if you're going to nationals this year or you're in Cleveland, go to West Side Market. It's just a cool place. But
yeah.
yeah, there's a tons of bakeries in there, and I was like, gonna have to find Todd a cinnamon roll. I think you were still in the Normatec tent when I left
Mm.
the venue that day.
Yeah, yeah, and we ended up making it to the West Side Market. We got one of those cinnamon rolls from Michelle's, and then we also got this really interesting. It was like a cinnamon pecan crisp. So it
hmm
was like a cinnamon roll, but it had been flattened like a pancake, and it was crispy, and that was really good too. So yeah, West Side Market, that was a really cool place. Not just for like bakery, but they had a lot of produce and a lot of
Right.
meat and
And
bread,
basically anything you could
anything
want
you could want.
food
Yeah,
wise.
it's
Yeah.
a giant farmers market. Yeah.
Yeah. My last question for you, and I'll let you go after this. I like to ask different athletes this: if you could only eat one thing for recovery for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Cinnamon rolls? For recovery? Okay, so are we talking like if this food that I eat will automatically give me good recovery or it
I mean,
like
like something you eat now. Like I use a particular recovery mix. Some people like
okay.
chocolate milk. Some people
Okay.
like if you could only do one, because like I use
Yeah.
different things depending on what the workout is. If you could only pick one, what would it be?
Oh man. Just give me like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like
Okay.
that's all I need. I mean, it's got some good carbohydrates, it's got good fat, it's got some protein. Um, so like it's not as bad for you as a cinnamon roll. It actually like replenishes you and makes up for that lost glycogen and the protein
hmm
muscle damage. So yeah, I would probably say just like a a PBJ. That's my jam. Creamy peanut butter. All right, none of that crunchy nonsense. All right, those people
Okay.
get crunchy. Like, get out of here. And I really like the cherry jam. That's also
Okay.
got some good antioxidant recovery.
Yeah, the antioxidants in the cherry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my go-to. Peanut butter and jelly, creamy
I'll
peanut.
I'll have to remember that. All right, Todd. If people want to follow your exploits and see what kind of cinnamon rolls you're eating in the future, where can they find you?
Yeah, so I'm at ToddBuck1, ToddBuckone on Instagram and Twitter, and just Todd Buckingham on Facebook. And you can find me on my website at toddbuckingham.com, where I post a picture of every single cinnamon roll that I've eaten. I've also got race results, which are less important than the cinnamon rolls. But yeah, race results, upcoming races, and I write a blog sometimes when I'm not so busy writing my dissertation. So, yeah.
Good deal. Thanks for coming on today, Todd.
Hey, thanks, Jesse. Appreciate it.